Hey guys, GHAZZY TV here with another Path of Exile video leading into 3.22 Trial of the Ancestor. We're going to talk about the Dark Pact build with the updates coming in. And some stuff that was rather interesting was the idea of squeezing in Guardian's Blessing support, considering that Dark Pact build is investing so much in minion survivability, most importantly, their life scaling. However, there's a few things that we need to bring into discussion here. First things first, I'm going to talk about the sacrifice support, and there are variations that you can run with the Dark Pact, such as Dissolution of the Flesh. Insanely cool way to play the build. Very advanced in terms of understanding the build. However, a build like that, sacrifice could potentially work. But the version that I have, which I deem to be superior in any way or kind or every sort of aspect, cannot use this because we're sacrificing the life of our minions. That said, Guardian's Blessing was the big one that we wanted to squeeze into this, and I'm going to show you a POB of the low budget. Low budget Dark Pact, we have made 0 changes except making the 3.21 into 3.22. So I'm going to show you the approach of this is very quickly that it's a 3.6 billion DPS build. You can level with this as soon as you get to 28. However, I would strongly recommend not ever switching to the Dark Pact playstyle until you have Spell Echo. And even if you switch that early, it will be rather clunky and feel kind of slow compared to leveling with Absolution, for example, or even Cremation Desecrate stuff and Armageddon Brand. So even if you can level with it, I would not recommend switching until you're like level 50, 60, maybe even 65, 70, and then switch. Because what's really cool with the Dark Pact build is that every single upgrade that you put on this build is very noticeable and a significant increase of its efficiency. So I just want to point that out that you can, but it will be kind of slow. And the higher budget you put onto the character, the more investment you do from low into medium and then high budget versions of this is so insane because of every single upgrade is just so significant and noticeable as you progress your character. That said, all the details for this will be in the written guide linked in the descriptions below. The POBs and all that will be updated there before the league launches, so do check that out. And I'm going to jump over and show you a quick glance on the Super Glass Cannon version. I would not recommend anyone to play this. I think there's only a handful of players in the game that can utilize this kind of POB in an effective manner. This is a glass cannon, 300 million shaper DPS, extremely expensive build. A build like this is designed to only do boss carries with people. You do not bring a build like this into a map and expect to survive. It's a glass cannon. This is not what I would recommend. People want this POB for some reason, so I'm having this POB linked in the guide, of course. But we're going to focus on the defensive version, which is the one I would recommend strongly to play. It's an extremely comfortable build, very tanky, despite what POB is saying. It's not really accurate. The only thing you need to be worried about is chaos damage, so make sure you get your chaos resistance covered through your gear. So the build here is doing about 47 million shaper DPS in the high-end gearing. Extremely comfortable. Things like the body armor where you get additional power charge on crit is how you alleviate a lot of pressure, and Nooses says just provide a lot of quality of life. Very big upgrade. Glorious Vanity, extremely good as well. All of these details are rather advanced, but they're covered in detail in the written guide. So I'm not going to spend this video on time to go through that as a proper build guide because the written guide covers this and just talk about some of the changes. So like I mentioned, we wanted to squeeze in Guardian's Blessing. I'm going to show you the gem again. It's going to take 14.3% of the life and energy shield as physical damage over time from the supported minion. And the only way we can squeeze this in would be on a enemy Guardian. We are not going to do this with this build for a variety of reasons. Most importantly, it's extremely socket starved already, so we don't have room for it. But I'm going to take this opportunity to explain how the degen actually works. So in the AG setup, we have a Crown of the Tyrant, which we don't want to remove, and we have Gruthkul's Pelt. And I'm going to show you the degen. This is a 102, almost 0.8 thousand HP Animate Guardian. So a level 20 Guardian's Blessing would do 14.3% of that HP and then do that per second. However, we have to add the energy shield to this. 102,787 plus the energy shield 328. Multiply that by 14.3%. And that's the amount of damage that the AG would theoretically take per second. Armor does not mitigate physical damage over time effects. This would be mitigated by generic physical damage mitigation, such as this node right there, 8% fist damage mitigation. This node right here, 15%, which means that this number would then be multiplied by 0.77, because we have, if you hover over this part, we have 23% physical damage mitigation. So that means that he would degen 11.3 thousand life per second with an aura active. And as you can see, he's only regenerating 9,600 life per second. Now we can change this to equip a doppelganger, which means he would lose 10% of the regen, but he would mitigate this number by 23 plus another 40%, which would then be 63% that would be mitigated, which means you'd multiply this with 27. So that would be the life he would take instead per second, right? All right, am I stupid? I think that's right. So you have 23 plus 40, so that's 63, right? So that's 37, my bad. 37. So you take 5.4k life per second. Now, to show you what that would do is if you change this into a doppelganger, he loses the regen, right? So now he's taking 5.4k life per second, but he's only regenerating 8,000 HP per second. This is obviously not a good call, and the only solution to solve more regen would be to change this into a Mask of the Stitch Demon, turning every 500 energy shield into 1% life regen, but every 500 energy shield would also be in a position where the AG would take 71.5 light damage per second, which is then mitigated. So that would be 26 damage per second for each 500 energy shield. But the problem with that is that 500 would then just give us 1% of his life as extra regen. So if we do this and we go back to the calculation, you'll see that he's regenerating 1,700 life per second, but we're still taking over 5,000 life per second as damage. So the only way to solve this is to ramp up the actual generic physical damage reduction on the enemy guardian, which we can do through a variety of means, such as changing the Hulking Corpse 25% life into a Dread March, which is 10% physical damage mitigation, which would apply to the damage mitigation of dots. However, we lose 15% life, which is a massive damage scaling for the build already, and it still might not be enough to make this work. So those are the reasons as to why we're not going to include Guardian's Blessing into the Dark Pact builds. They're already super solid. No changes happening. It's an S tier build if you ask me, and the guide will be fully updated before the league launches. So if you like this video and you like this type of build, let me know in the comments below what you think of it. But I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. So till then, as always, stay safe, keep rocking.